Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This time we'll be looking at Koss. As mentioned in my previous video that I posted about GameStop. So why are we looking at Koss? If you guys followed the meme stocks back in 2021. You guys would know that Koss ran with GameStop and so did AMC. So as you can see, just a brief look at it, you can really see that there is a lot of similarities between Koss and GameStop. Now if I pull up GameStop, you'll see on the weekly frame there's the similar explosive move up back in 2021, followed by years of consolidation and then a second spike up. And this is in April of 2024. Now if we go back to Koss, we can see that there's the same kind of movement here, this absolute takeoff right from here, and then we have a similar smaller move up also on April of 2024. Now, back then there was the basket stock theory, as in there were a bunch of stocks that were being traded in a basket, as in there was a bunch of stocks being sold at the same time. Just imagine an ETF where people, like short sellers, would be able to short an ETF, and then every single one of those stocks that are underlying within the ETF, they would also be shorted. So the theory behind that was that whoever decided to short the ETF, every single stock, underlying stock that was in the ETF would be being pushed downward in a downward pressure, right? But the moment that they could no longer short it, everything started like blasting off. Now you could check out the previous video, the video I posted, the first original video that I posted about GameStop, to get the gist of the anticipated move. But essentially, we're following the same theory as GameStop, moving according to the Fibonacci retracement level. Fibonacci extension levels. Wave C, if we were to label this as A, B, and C, we would see that wave C, on the more conservative side, would be a 0.618 retracement, and then followed by a 1, which is a 368. And then a 1.618, which is $8,498. So approximately $8,500. So as you can see, just by taking a look at what I have already, we can easily glean that there is very strong resistance at the previous all-time high, because taking a look at this original or the macro Fibonacci extension I have, it did touch the 0.786 point, which is also doubly the all-time high. In addition to that, we also have this smaller Fibonacci extension, which lines up exactly at 1.618, lines up exactly to the previous all-time high, and the 0.786 Fibonacci extension. So because of that, I am expecting this level to have very, very high resistance. And of course, with that being said, it's very, very likely to see the next wave up to be hitting at this level right here, this whole level right here. Now, but we will talk more about this in the daily time frame, because right now we are in the weekly time frame. So let's just hop into it right now. So what we see in the daily time frame, way back here, especially in May, is that we had a very, very clear impulsive move back in May, back in here, where we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. And if I were to draw the Fibonacci extension here, we would see this is the low, this would be the high, and to the second low, it touched exactly at 1.618 golden ratio, and then we touched also 3.618, which is also really, really like golden ratio because of the ending 618. So as you can see, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, taking this aside, we can see that this kind of corrective phase that we have here, which was 78.5 roughly, but 191 bars. So this corresponds heavily with what happened back in this original move. We can see that, you know, this it was very convoluted, very long and drawn out. Similar to this, if we had the bars, yeah, if we had this and we just kind of moved it around and had it similar to this, we can see that it is quite similar with the move, right? Because we see this this dip and then a U structure followed by this long convoluted like zigzag combination, which again you can see in this here, this drop down into a U and then a long convoluted corrective phase. So what we have here, which I am tracking right now, what is developing right now looks to be a very clear diagonal. It looks very, very clear in comparison to GameStop, because remember before GameStop, we had to wait a couple, a few long days for GameStop to really pave the way, right? To see that, to get the confirmation that it is a diagonal structure. Whereas for Koss over here, we see this very clear, clearly forming leading diagonal here. Now, it's been a while since I actually did anything for Koss. I did have the Fibonacci extensions, but let me clean this up, because again, this being a leading diagonal, this would no longer be valid. I drew this way back, this parallel line way back, parallel channel way back, and I'll just clean this up too. But essentially we have this wave, or wave 1 being like here, and then we have a wave 2, and a wave 3 into a 4, and we're finishing up the 5th wave. And again, just drawing the trend line, we can also see, touching these points, these are very strong. This is a very strong support level that we have here, and we can see this beginning to form this diagonal structure. And again, if the price action were to follow the follow within this parameter, we can see that if we pull this Fibonacci extension leading from the beginning of 1 into 2, we can see that we have this touching here almost at the 1.236 and ending around this area, which is approximately 1.618. But we also have this larger Fibonacci extension of 11.47. So these extensions alongside this channel that we have here, it's very likely to see the next move up being within this area. One thing to keep in mind is that if this third wave were to touch this 1.236, then it's very likely that the 5th wave would be touching this 1.618, seeing that we have the lines drawn out. But the thing to keep in mind is that because this never fully touched the 1.236, you can anticipate that this level here, it would not touch this 1.618. Usually that is something that I found out. I'm not sure if it's valid, but it is something I see quite frequently. And so again, if Koss and GameStop move together in tandem, then they should both be moving as a diagonal, which we do see happening right now, as this is forming a leading diagonal, and GameStop with its recent price action, it is becoming more and more likely to be a leading diagonal as well. The recent price action that we had, over here, we can see that it has been making higher lows ever since this third wave move. it has been making higher lows because this has touched this trend line that I just drew, and this other candle also touched this trend line right here. So we can say confidently that it is moving in an uptrend, which, unlike GameStop, GameStop is lagging really behind with a lot of suppressed price action. Koss is looking a bit cleaner in this regard. Now, one thing that I am questioning is that we do have this wave 2. So essentially what Elliott wave theory has suggested in this corrective phases is that there's a thing called alternation, wherein if wave 2's correction was long and convoluted, then the second corrective phase, which is wave 4, it would be much shorter in that regard. And vice versa, if wave 2 was very short and clear cut, then we would likely see wave 4 being a lot more complicated, like more likely a combination correction. So with that being said, it really depends on how this second wave moved. We can see that this is a clear zigzag structure, as in an ABC. But the thing is, if this is an ABC correction, we would be seeing some kind of either triangle or a flat correction, which is more likely in a wave 4 correction anyways. So all in all, it does seem like we are in the 4th wave. It is possible that we are finished with the 4th wave. It's just that personally, I don't think we are, simply because this one was a quite clear zigzag structure for wave 2. And if this one is a clear structure, then wave 4 should be a little bit more convoluted, so a little bit more complex. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being some kind of like double flat correction or something along those lines, because what we have now after this 3rd wave is this steep drop back down and then into a 1-2, potential 1-2, right? In theory though, because of how wave 2 was with this kind of correction, I would not be surprised if wave 4 ended up being some kind of like running flat, like a double flat correction, which would essentially be, let me draw it out actually, it would essentially be something like, A, B, C, and then you'd have an X over here, which is usually 2 degrees smaller, a move up, and then we would have another A, B, C. So this would be a double flat because you'd have one flat with something that is labeled as an X move. So you would literally label this as simply X. We would have another ABC correction, and that would be a double flat. But regardless, getting rid of this, I do want to point out that the RSI and MACD are looking bullish, so it is possible that the correction is completed for wave 4, but always we have to wait for confirmation of the wave 4 completion. Never jump the gun for that. So just keep that in mind. But assuming that wave 4 is completed, we can anticipate an extremely explosive wave 5. Like how wave 3 had its very explosive move, wave 5 would in theory be about the same thing. It would be very fast and aggressive going up. Now, going back to the daily chart, just for a more like a clearer point of view, we would be expecting, also because take a look at this, right? It has been going up slowly, and this has curved again. It's just more confirmation that potentially we do have a run coming soon. And when I mean soon, I mean like, yeah, pretty soon. It wouldn't take weeks. I would not expect it to be like weeks, like 3-4 weeks for a run. But then again, you know, we have to keep in mind that GameStop is moving really slow, And if these two run in tandem, then we're kind of waiting for both of them to be set to run, to make a very explosive move. And in this case, what really invalidates this diagonal structure is this break, this area, this 462 area. If we break this, of course, it would no longer be a diagonal, leading diagonal, right? So in fact, like if it were to break this because of this previous high, we would be arguing that it is a expanded flat correction, which would indicate that this is a 1 into a 2, which ends up being like this: A, B, and then C. It would be expanded as in this this high of the corrective wave would be higher than this wave 1. And also this the corrective phase, or the corrective wave, would also be breaking this previous low, and that's how we would know that this move here, that this move that we have here, is not a leading diagonal, but instead an expanded flat. But again, with the indicators flipping green and the way that the stock is moving, it's unlikely to be an expanded flat. It's more likely to be a leading diagonal, which again, we're going to be seeing an explosive move upwards. Just like every other leading diagonal, there's always going to be a very deep retracement. So assuming that we do finish at this 1.618 ratio, which I strongly do believe it will hit that, because it has respected the Fibonacci levels and has respected the golden ratios many times. So it's very likely, at least in my perspective and in my bias, that it's going to go to this this level right here. But again, if it ends up going here, assuming that it does go up to here and this is the top, we would see again the same thing of a wave 2 retracement going down to 78.6% and 88.6%. And it is only after that we have touched this area can we say that wave 2 is completed. Because essentially what it would be, right, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishing here, and that would be the smaller degree of a wave 3 that we are in right now. Because again, this is a 1, 2, and then we're in the 3 right now, but within the 3 that we are tracking, we do have a leading diagonal. So if I were to draw it out, it would be something like this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, keeping the degrees this proper this time, right? We would have this as the 1, wave 1. This entire move would be a wave 1. And the retracement that comes afterwards, which would be the 78% retracement to 88% retracement, we would be looking at a retracement back down to this area, which is approximately $4.46, right? But the thing is that what happens after is the extended 3. So we would have an extended 3 move, and then a move back down, and then a finishing wave 5, which would essentially make up the entire wave 3 move of a bigger degree. And the bullish thing that I have here is the fact that if it is a leading diagonal, which I do believe, I strongly believe it is, but only time can tell, but it does seem like it will be kind of soon. The thing is that if it ends up being this as a 1 and this as a 2, we're gonna see wave 3 be extended. So in that sense, if we had assuming that, again, there's a lot of assuming here, but if it plays out the way I think it does, this is essentially 1. Where was the 1.6? I think it was this, right? 1, and then 2 into a deep retracement. Now we have that. Okay. So if it were to play out like this, we would see, we would anticipate wave 3 to be, of course, past this 1 level, and with an extended 3 is likely to be at least a 1.618. However, it could be going much higher. And knowing the way that Koss moves, I wouldn't be surprised if it hit this 2 level before, retracing back down. Of course, 4 anywhere, we don't know where it's gonna be, but somewhere below 3 and above 1 if it's impulsive. And then, of course, wave 5 finishing the move would be approximately within this area, because again, you see this Fibonacci of 3.236 is very close to this 1.618. So, of course, this is kind of where I would expect the final move to complete and finish a bigger degree 3. And of course, it's just something that I plotted. Of course, it's way too early to see where it goes, because again, if let's say that this wave 3 was a lot more extended and it played out to incredible levels, going up to this 3.236 level and 4 retracing back down wherever, that would mean that this wave 5 would be a lot higher, right? It would make this wave much more impulsive, higher than where wave 3 would have ended. Which then again, if that is the case, then this would have to be replotted and replanned out, right? Everything would have to be reorganized in that sense. So again, it is a bit early to be plotting all these moves, but it's just something that I want to put out there, because again, if the wave completes as 1 into a 2, we will be looking at a very explosive and extended wave 3. And on top of that, assuming that we have this larger degree 3, because again it's a 1, 2, and then a 3, and this is only the smaller wave counts, if we are assuming that wave 3 will end at the golden ratio here, then that just implies that this smaller degree of wave 3, it has to somehow manage its way up into this golden ratio of 1.618. Again, it's a lot of assumptions, but again, there's a lot of confirmation, or I guess not confirmation, but a lot of price action that respects this level of 1.618. So again, a lot of bias, that was the word I was looking for. There's a lot of bias towards this level, and the fact that it is in a previous all-time high, there will be a lot of resistance here. So it only makes sense for a wave to really end at this area before it starts retracing back down. Now, I know those who have watched my original GameStop video, you might be asking, like, why are you tracking Koss as an impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and not like an ABC structure like GameStop? Because in that video I had it as an A, B, and C, but like honestly, the price structure and the movement of Koss is a lot easier to track. And the lack of options, like being able to play options for these for Koss, might be the cause of a more obvious wave count. It is also true for cryptocurrency, right? It's a lot easier to really plot the waves, and the levels that the waves touch is much more respected. As you can see from here, let me see, these levels are much more respected. You see this here at the 4.236. And what else is there? This is a 1.382, which was respected very clearly. What else do I have? I mean, I've already shown this one, which I can do again, but you already get the point of it, right? It touches this 1.618 and the 3.618 level to the T. So I mean, you know, it's definitely more clear in comparison to GameStop. And also in the end, counting it as an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, whatever, because we would be on the C wave anyways, it really doesn't make much of a difference. So there's also that. So just, you know, clearing the air right there. And right now, what's important is waiting for wave 3 to begin its move. So again, because we have this anticipated leading diagonal ending around this area, what happens next is the deep retracement, which we already have anticipating. So for those who are like, you know, quite bullish on it being very explosive, it will be, but not yet. Not yet. You might be able to see this movement from here going up to the 1.618 level, being explosive like how wave 3 was, but that would be, you know, it would be nothing compared to the actual wave 3 move. Because taking a look at this, right, we see that the projected wave 3 would end around $123, but just look at the price where it's at right now. It's 5.69 as of today. So if we were to plot this, it would be a crazy, astounding 2,600% move. So whatever move that's going to happen in this smaller time frame, or in this smaller wave, being like a 90%, that is good still, but what's coming next is gonna blow your head off. And just like GameStop, exactly the same as GameStop, we just want to wait for the move to complete, right? This 1 and a 2 to complete, and we just really want to see that wave 3. Where will that wave 3 end? How strong will the momentum be? And, you know, like, at what level will it be respected? Because only after the wave 3 move can we project, you know, where 4 and 5 will lead. And just remember, like, yeah, I am hyping up a bit, which I don't like doing, because a lot of traders will also hype things up, but just remember that you have to be patient, especially when it comes to stocks, because these move ridiculously slow. They are so slow, honestly. Just take a look at this microwave 2 was already 190 bars. That's 275 days. That's ridiculous. And then you take a look at this this corrective phase here, and you're looking at a crazy 1,183 days. These are days. That's like what? That's more than 3 years, right? That's definitely more than 3 years. January 2021 to April 2024. So be patient. First of all, we don't know how long this wave 2 will actually take, because again, we finished this leading diagonal. It finishes here, and then we still have to wait for the completion of a wave 2 back down here, retracing again, like potentially to 88.6%. Only then will wave 3 begin. So there's a lot of time to really see this thing out, you know, see this thing through. There is so much time. And especially because this would be a crazy like 2,000% gain, it's not gonna happen one day. Like I know that, you know, we have this here, this one candle, which was a 9% move up, but this being a larger degree, if like there's no way it's gonna make that kind of move and be sustained for the next move up. Remember that greed and impatience is your biggest enemy in trading. And trade price targets and secure your gains. Have an exit strategy. Like, I know for sure that I have one. I have 100%. I'm ready to leave when it hits that target. I'm not planning to be holding all the way up, you know? You might see this, you know, this super macro 5 being all the way up at $8,000, right? $8,500. But I'm not planning to hold up until then, because again, it might not hit this. It will actually definitely will not hit this when it's making this move up, right? It's not only is it 1 degree larger, but also because it's on such a huge macro level that this wave 1 on this macro level was 310 days on an impulsive move up. So what am I expecting from this would also be at least 301 days. So I'm not planning to trade or to hold all the way here. I am planning to trade this thing, you know, left, right, and center, just making the moves up and then selling on the way up, and then buying when it's also down and ready for the next move up. That's how I am personally planning to play this. So again, just greed and impatience, your biggest enemy. Just trade price targets and secure your gains. You don't want to be the person that's holding on unrealized gains of, like, you know, 5,000%. And anyways, so that concludes the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, like always. I appreciate every single one of you watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.